Are you gonna be a mud mower girl?
Oh, hell yeah.
So here's the build idea walkthrough. Basically, we've got 16-inch front tires, we've got 23-inch rear tires, so we pretty much have the makings of a mud mower chassis idea already. 16s are what I run on the front of Mud Wizard, 22s by 11s are what I run on the rear, and these are 12-inch rims, which will make it easy to find stuff. The problem is, I don't want John all the way up there. We've seen the video, we've seen how little kids get thrown around. I want John right about here. So if we come around, we've got John staging up to the side here, with the idea being that if we set him down in and we put the steering wheel centered down lower, he'll be able to look just over the top of the gas tank while sitting inside, in theory, sitting probably about 12 inches back inside of here. These fenders, everything, all of the sheet metal that makes this a GT 5000 is all going away to probably end up on whatever that is hiding in the tent. Alright, so we need to make sure we got a power plant because the Kohler in that is utterly, totally toasted. So we got our Gatorade, Powerade in this case, we got a dash in there, we got some in there. We got the starter so it's moving, and you guys saw a picture of the spark plug earlier. That was horrible. I've never seen one like that before. And let's try and go for it. Okay, well, that was definitely a kick on just Powerade. Alright, so the blown up toaster strudels is out, and it's over there so that I can pull parts off of it, like the starter and the stator underneath the flywheel and all of that. And we made sure that these are just generic bolt holes and that there is enough clearance here that if I want to put a single with a under exhaust I can. So we know that that should fit. But what I was going to show you guys is this. If you've got an up and running motor and you know that everything's all set in it and you're about to pull it, take the 5 seconds to come down here and mark right exactly where it was settled in and where it runs at high throttle. Because most of your throttles usually have a clip where they lock in. So it's a spot that you can use as a universal judgment point to be able to hook it up and makes things a lot faster when you go to reset. Okay. Alright, so these motors, there's no real nice place to go and get a grab handle on if you're moving one of these. I like to go one hand in from the front with my thumb wrapping around the intake. And then I usually throw my other over the top of the starter, or I put it on the backside and lift over towards myself. But this is really your only good grab point. So let's see if this will come loose. The pulley was being stupid. And off we go. And one hole. Uh-oh. Well, unfortunately, looks as if holes did not match up and we're going to have to drill something. Stay tuned. Well, we wouldn't be Redneck Computer Geek channel without a cheap welder. So we ended up picking up this Easy Weld 140. And I'm going to do a little bit more of a demonstrational video with it later, but we're back to the cheap welders. I'll post a link. These are about $250 in the current market, but when I purchased this one, it was actually only 200 bucks. If we come over here, we did a couple of welds to go and make a captive nut. And now I'm going down through and fixing the frame rail so that it'll stay solid. And it seems to be doing pretty good. To be quite honest, I actually think the $100 Goplus Chinese welder was welding better for this kind of thing. But it could just be that the machine is warming up. I've noticed that also with these. They take some time to warm up. Alright, this thing is definitely no Hobart 140, but I tell you what, it definitely will lay bead when you need to. I'm using their actual welding wire, the company that makes this. I'm not really sold on it. I think that the wire is part of the problem, in all honesty. But I was right. Once it warmed up, it started laying beads without any issue. And like I said, I've run into this before with these Chinese cheap welders, that you have to go and get them warmed up and everything before they'll really start to go and put some beads down. But yeah, we're doing pretty good. So we've got our brake and reset lever figured out. We found a nice brand spanking new blue Kevlar belt. Well, it's not brand new, but it's an 83 inch, which is what these use in order to put in there. It's got a pulley underneath here that I don't like the mount that's on it. It'll probably be fine, but I think I'm going to come up with a way to reinforce it. At the very least, I don't like how that pulley is right where you're going to come down on the frame of the machine if you hit a rock or over the top of a log. So somewhere underneath that pulley, I'm going to make sure that there's a skid pan for something to hit if it comes down on it. At the very least, a piece of rebar or anything. I can't do anything about the steering linkage. It just is where it is. It sits lower than the machine by quite a bit. So you can see that pulley. It actually sits under the frame of the machine. So I can't do anything about that linkage, but I can at least box the pulley in some form. Which actually what I might do is come down far enough and box it over so that it won't catch the steering linkage at any point either. Haven't quite decided yet. But I was right that Craftsman, in their usual state of mind, did not change where the mounting holes are from frame to frame. In fact, actually you can see the 1-2 right there, and then the 1-2 right there, and the front, they actually line up perfectly. This is from a 1988, and the holes seem to line up. We're going to bolt it on real quick and double check. And then we've got the fender here that we're going to set on and then cut out in order to set the seat down in. And most of this side rail here is going to get cut down and then have a bracket put in across the top of it in order to bring the rigidity back. I mean, this machine is, you know, other than the front tire going clunk clunk right now, it's insanely boxed in and works really well. This definitely made a huge difference. There's no back and forth anymore. And we should be able to set a seat into it. Alright, so at this point, the goal is the gas tank here. The seat's going to drop down into where these brackets are. I'm about to take the plasma cutter and cut these angles right straight out all the way back, except for to about this line. The reason being is because the shift bracket is there and I haven't quite decided whether I'm relocating or extending it. And the battery will probably mount somewhere in here. I'm going to take this vent and set the vent right at the very back of the seat or something like that, or off to the side. I haven't quite decided yet. Where this is going to have this motor here, it's your coil that decides how deep in the water you can go on these once you snorkel them out. So really we can only go to about here. So I've got to bring the vent up probably 4 inches, 5 inches. And here's my worker. She's been smashing a rock in the driveway. Well, she dug it out. I smashed it.
And you broke your sledgehammer.
Yeah, I broke my sledgehammer. Yeah. I need a new sledgehammer. Anybody got recommendations for one?
He did good.
We're in the not very fun process of fitment right now. We've got this bolted on. It actually mounted right to the exact factory mount of the GT5000, which meant that we could bolt this up exactly where it is. And it almost, stock, cleared those rear tires. Isn't that crazy? But we're planning to go bigger on the rear tires eventually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to space the back end with a couple of 1-inch blocks, which will lift it quite a bit. So right now it's like this, and if I space it about 1 inch, we should clear 25s without too much of an issue. We might have to trim this a little bit later or flare it out just a little bit, but there's plenty of metal to do that in the future. What I'm working on right now though is I just got done slicing this, just a small section out of there. And now we've got to work on the fitment of getting the seat to drop down in. And I'm trying to leave as much of the original fender as I can, because I want it to act as a mud guard and have it not splash up through, that kind of stuff. So that's where I'm at right now, just trying to get that to fit down in and ride to the extent of about 1/3 of the spring. Alright, so at this point we got this welded into place where it's at the junction. We had to slice out this section here in order to shorten it up, as you can see there. So we've got this last nub, we're going to wing right off there. There we go. That's that Porter cable I did a video on a few years back. I absolutely love this thing. Definitely one of my favorite ones with the trigger. So there we go. We've got our shift handle all cut up.
Okay.
Alright, so we got a redneck dead man switch on it. We are just manually holding the choke, and we've got it zip tied for the throttle where it's a hydro, and we're going to see whether it'll go. go ahead.
Hey.
Yep. All you gotta do is just stomp the damn brake if it freaks. So, see this bubble of tape? If you slam it down, it grounds out the motor and kills it. Yep, if you punch it, it kills it. Are you gonna be a mud mower girl?
Oh, hell yeah.
Are you gonna be a mud mower girl?
Oh, hell yeah. Actually, going over that bump didn't really hurt my back that bad.
It feels okay?
Because I could control where my back is going more than I thought I could.
Yeah, we'll still put a pad for you.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay. So do I need to put a hood on it?
Yes, and we need a paint job.
How about we run it first, paint job second?
Okay.
Okay. So John's been gone on the 3 days it took for me to go and build this machine. John, what do you think?
Good.
You think it looks cool?
Yes. Oh, you gotta pull it in.
So can you reach the pedal?
Probably gotta scoot up a little, but...
Okay, so you can't quite reach it. And what about the shifter? Can you reach the shifter?
Yeah.
So we've got some wiring to finish on it. We've got a bunch of other stuff to finish. John will grow into this build. Jessie fits it just as it is. Don't expect her to go and grow anymore. So the next time you see this, it'll be out on a trail. John, say bye-bye.